Chapter 6 Present Day. Camille found Detective Inspector Richard Poole sitting outside the Honoré Tilde Copyright Police Station. She had tracked down the number to a mobile phone in Antigua and had a suspicion, a deep, leaden suspicion in her stomach that she wanted him to listen to. But the look on his face made that all disappear. Camille sank down onto the step beside him. He didn't move at first, didn't appear to notice Camille, but then put across a hand and covered one of hers for a moment, before withdrawing it and wrapping his arms across his stomach. "It's this girl, this murdered girl, isn't it?" Camille asked. The question existed between them for a short time, which drifted to a much longer time. "Who is she, Richard?" This made him turn and give Camille a brief smile. "I knew someone with the same name once." "Her?" Camille asked. "Her name," Richard specified. She had the same name. But, logically, the poor woman who was murdered twice just to make sure, cannot be my Bobby Weymouth. His Bobby Weymouth, Camille thought. Oh no, a broken bar. "If you don't believe it, then I don't believe it," she told him, loyally. Chief Sergeant Fidel Best broke the spell and Richard got to his feet. "We have some information about the victim, Roberta Claire Weymouth." He held up a picture. It would be placed at the top of the crime board soon, the inspector thought. Bobby, at the top of the board. "But it couldn't be here, a broken bar." "It can't be her," Richard murmured, ignoring Fidel's hand to take it back. He looked again at the picture. The girl's image looked back at him. He was right, he thought to himself. She looked very similar to Bobby. Same age, same face, a broken bar, same name in the passport. They just needed the DNA test back. It was one of those things Dwayne hadn't yet mastered, although he was trying hard. Ironically, the DNA assay had to be sent back to Antigua, back to Charlotte Brooke. "Still the same problem?" Richard asked Dwayne, who had come out too and was standing by Fidel. "Short-staffed, and I could have gone there, Chief," Dwayne added, plaintively, "but the commissioner called me." Dwayne told him, "They still have a backlog, or had a near-broken bar. I could call Charlotte if you—" "No." Richard Poole's interjection was neither moderate nor well-measured. Shock at the volume and ferocity, Dwayne put his mobile phone away from his face. "But it will have been quality assured, cross-referenced," Fidel added. "And this sample is definitely from one, Roberta Claire Weymouth, Fidel Reed, born 26 April 1980 April, 1986. Richard Poole echoed. Sergeants Best and Bordy exchanged looks. "I was 15 when I first knew her." D.I. Poole looked away. Then he got to his feet, and made his way slowly inside. He had only ever felt like this once before, when his parents had called him at university to tell him that Dinah was missing. He glanced at his desk. It had a small pile of papers on it, his badge, his briefcase, and a little silver donkey. Once part of a pendant, it had been sent to him in a letter 3 years before. Now, its guilt stood before it. She was beyond clever, beyond intelligent, beyond genius. Had she the intent, Roberta could have been a psychopath. Richard shuddered. She was the only person he ever wanted close, and his father and her mother had done everything they could to keep them apart, which hadn't done much good. In the end, Roberta could turn her hand to anything, do anything. She could make money from nothing, and had done so. Legitimately, lawfully. He could do nothing but admire her, to adore her, to love her. And then, when she had got the thing she wanted most in the world, a place in his life, the woman Richard Poole loved had disappeared. He shook his head. Roberta Weymouth could no more be dead than he was. Richard was aware his 3 colleagues were standing together staring at him. He looked back and, after a brief pause, nodded. He knew what to do, what he and to do. There was no point waiting for a sign. There was only one thing that made sense now. "Hold the fort here, will you?" he told them. "Camille, Fidel, I'm putting you in charge." He looked at the board. "Do what needs to be done. Find out who stabbed that poor woman in the back and filled her pockets with stones." "Yes?" he prompted. When no one had moved, when no one had spoken, they nodded, still watching Richard Poole, as he stared at his desk, grabbing things seemingly at random. "Where are you going, sir?" He stopped, and gave his friend a big smile. "Antigua, bloody Antigua, Camille. Because something isn't right, and I want to find out what. Because if it's what I think it is, we are all in a lot of trouble.